Meet Mustafa Sharif. He was born in Turkey in 1906, and he earned his bachelor's degree from Izmir American College and then a master's from the University of Istanbul. After arriving in America, he earned a master's from Harvard University and then a PhD from Columbia University. He was a founder of modern social psychology and developed several unique and powerful techniques for understanding social processes. Unfortunately, most of his original contributions to social psychology have been absorbed into the field so fully that his role in development and discovery has disappeared. Did I mention that he worked at a pretty awesome school? One of his most important theories to the communication theory world is the social judgment theory. So what is social judgment theory? Social judgment theory uses an objective approach. It says that when you have a statement or message, you accept it or reject it based on your own cognitive map. In other words, you accept or reject a message based off of one's own ego involvement, and if it falls within your latitude of acceptance. But what is a latitude of acceptance? It is the range of ideas that a person sees as reasonable or worthy of consideration. Now let's look at an example of social judgment theory. Take each of these questions into consideration. Question 1. Student athletes should be given extra time to complete assignments. Question 2. Student athletes are for the most part lazy when it comes to schoolwork. Question 3. Student athletes should receive more time to complete assignments because their schedule is more hectic than the average student. Question 4. Student athletes should be treated like every other student. Question 5. Athletes should be able to skip class because they are tired from practice or games. Question 6. Professors should take extra time to tutor these student athletes who miss class. If you're a student athlete, I'll bet some of these statements made you a little mad. But if you're not a student athlete, I bet you agreed with some of the very statements that made those student athletes mad. Let's pick a few of those statements out. Let's look at statement 1, 3, 5, and 6. I bet most in this class rolled their eyes at these statements, and parents probably laughed at number 3. So what have you done with these statements? You have just used social judgment theory. You've either accepted the statement, rejected the statement, or you've fallen into the latitude of non-commitment. Ego involvement, which is the importance of an issue in a person's life, often demonstrated by membership in a group with a known stand, is what guided you to one of these latitudes. One study that used social judgment theory was done by Larry Newman, called an examination of ego involvement as a modifier of attitude changes caused from product testing. An experiment was conducted to measure levels of ego involvement and the effects of an automobile demonstration as a communication to create changes in attitude. The results demonstrated the usefulness of perspective for examining communication effectiveness. Another study that was done by Blair Johnson, titled Effects on Involvement on Persuasion, a meta-analysis, defines involvement as a motivational state induced by an association between an active attitude and a self-concept. So how do we critique this theory? Is it a good theory with little fault or a bad theory with lots of faults? Social judgment theory processes the idea that persuasion is a two-step process. The first step involves individuals hearing or reading a message and immediately evaluating where the message falls within their own position. The second step involves individuals adjusting their particular attitude towards another or away from a message that they've just heard. Griffin states that despite the questions that surround social judgment theory, it is an elegant concept of the persuasion process that falls well within his latitude of acceptance. Personally, I like this theory. It didn't leave me questioning any parts of it after reading the chapter. So what have I learned from social judgment theory? I've learned that whether I accept or reject a statement is based off of what I currently have going on in my own head. The theory also teaches me how to become a better persuader.